Welcome to Global Village. This is Ahmed Kasim, your host of the program. Today we have two great people. We have Mayor Ted of Medicine Hat and Molly Douglas from County of New York. Welcome back to the program again.
It's my pleasure to be here again. Thank you.
Mine too.
Thank you. Ted, could you tell us a little bit about why they call you the mayor of the homelessness in Medicine Hat, or going to end the homelessness in Medicine Hat?
Yeah, well, there's a program called Housing First in the province of Alberta, and it was a 10-year plan that was started about 5 years ago by the province to end homelessness across Alberta in 10 years. However, in Medicine Hat, 5 years ago, there was a very dedicated group of citizens, Medicine Hat Community Housing Association, and as well as all the support services, the food bank and our mental health, that decided 10 years was too long to allow this problem to continue, and they said, well, let's do it in 5 years. Have to admit, 5 years ago I chuckled. I was not a believer. Well, first of all, I didn't believe in the program. I wasn't a big supporter of ending homelessness and providing affordable housing. And third, I didn't believe they could do it, to tell you the truth. However, over the last 5 years, I've been convinced that, well, first of all, it's the right thing to do. It's the humane thing to do. But when you look at, if you accept the fact that there's only one taxpayer in the province, and I accept that fact, and I would sure you do as well, that it actually costs a taxpayer less to solve the homeless problem. So when you think about access to health care, so if somebody gets hypothermic in January, they end up in the emergency room. First of all, they're clogging up the emergency room for other people as well. There's $1,000 to the taxpayer as soon as they walk through the door. Of course, they have a couple night hospital stay. There's another couple grand each night they stay. It could be $5,000 just because they walk through that door. Then, of course, you think about the criminal justice system. You think about the first responders, the police, the paramedics to respond to all this. And the old adage was, you solve your mental health problems, get off the drugs, get off the alcohol, and then we'll talk to you about a place to live. Housing First puts that on its head and basically says, you know what, no questions asked. We'll give you a place to live. It saves the taxpayer money, but as soon as you get that place to live, then they bring in the support services around. They bring in the mental health, the addictions, the food bank, whatever you need to deal with your problem. But you can't deal with your problem if you don't have a roof over your head. So I've become a firm believer in the program, and Medicine Hat has been lucky in so many ways with our utilities, our resources, our land. So we've been able to help out with land donations. But I have to give all the credit to the people that have believed in this, and the province as well. And I like to say that Medicine Hat has given hope to the rest of the country.
Wow, that's a very good initiative because giving the housing first, I think that's a very important thing for humanity, because then you can follow up with all the other stuff.
Correct, yeah.
But if you're asking someone to stop all the programs, all the problems they have, and then we'll give you housing, it's going to be difficult.
It doesn't work. It has been proven it doesn't work. I like to say, sorry, I'm maybe going a little long, but I like to say, your brain is an organ, same as your lungs, your livers, your kidney. You get lung cancer, your friends come around, you have people host fundraisers for you. Lasagna show up on your front doorstep from anonymous people you don't know, and your family and your friends support you. And however, when you get a mental health problem, sometimes even your closest friends and family turn their back on you. And I like to say a symptom of lung cancer is a cough. A symptom of mental health issues is you end up homeless.
Wow, that's a very good point, and I think we thank to you and those people who initiated that issue, and we hope the initiative to be very successful so other places in Alberta and Canada will follow suit.
Wasn't Premier Stelmach, that was one of his legacies?
Yeah, but then Premier Redford, she was really on board with it as well.
Just interesting. People we forget, we were just talking about how fast premiers have become forgotten recently, so we'll put a plug in for them today.
Yeah. Your scandal only lasts a week or two, and then somebody else takes over for you. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yes, Molly, thank you for coming back again to the program. Could you tell us some good success stories from the County of New York area in 2014? We had a lot of good success stories, I believe.
Yeah, we have a great county, great area. Oil, gas, agriculture, and tourism are the sort of the cornerstones. And I'll talk about something that happened in the summer. We hosted an Ag Service Board tour in the county of Newell and had quite a few hundred people from around the province come to that. And they were absolutely amazed at what southern Alberta has. We focused on irrigation because we are a desert, and it was actually, the theme of it was from desert to oasis. And not just the irrigation surprised people, because not all areas of the province irrigate, but just some of the other things, our metal industry for one, and our variety of agriculture with dairy, and you know, we went to robotic dairy and showed that off. So it was a very successful time, and everywhere I go now within the province, anybody who was there comments about what a good time it was. And of course, you know, we're in cowboy country, which intrigues some people too, and we know how to socialize, have a good time. So
There you go.
that was part of it. But we did some paving. Our regional water project is continuing to move along. It's pretty exciting. It's actually getting to my northern remote area, and that will be the last contract that is let out. And at the end of January, I spent 2 days with the MPE engineering guys in GEM, sorting out the easements, or getting all that organized. And people never really believed that would happen all over the rural area, but there will be potable water coming from the city of Brooks.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing, and we get lots of comments on that. And again, without the provincial support that we've had, that wouldn't have happened either. So.
And there was celebration in GEM, I think.
Oh yes, we had a 100th anniversary, and our little hamlet of 12 people or whatever it is grew to about 1,000 probably on the Saturday. So yeah, we had lots of fun, and we're the team that worked so hard on that proved they were incredible hosts, feeding people and entertaining, and all good.
Oh, wow.
I found it interesting you mentioned how affordable it was for a hookup.
Well,
for the water.
Yes, heavily subsidized. But we encourage, it's one of those things, the more people hook up, the better it is. I mean, the efficiency of that. And we started out asking ratepayers to put in $7,000. And I think our sign up was about 55%. We made a council decision to heavily subsidize it and make it $1,000 a hookup, and it went up to 92%. And so we believe, the council of that day and still believes, that having a good water supply for our area is going to be key going forward for economic development.
Wow.
So that's one of the big reasons that we did that.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, the oil commodities are a little bit down through the global market, which affects Canada, which mainly affects Alberta. Would that affect the city of Medicine Hat in terms of your 2015 vision, projects, and operations?
Yeah, well, so as you're aware, City of Medicine Hat owns a gas production company, an oil production company, gas distribution, electric distribution, electric generation company. Yeah. And so we actually have had to delay our budgets. So we have a municipal side and we have an energy side. We actually have, we're actually two separate corporations in Medicine Hat. And we've delayed our utility budgets. Normally they would have been out by now. So in some ways, Medicine Hat's looking at a double whammy in that we're concerned about the province and the province financial situation, of course, with MSI, Municipal Sustainability Initiative, and what's going to happen with that going forward, as well as capital construction projects. And then the City of Medicine Hat's also concerned because of the low prices of gas and oil commodity that provides a dividend to the City of Medicine Hat, which helps supply all of our recreational facilities, keeps our taxes low, subsidize our taxes, and so we're worried about that. So in some ways, it's quite a bit of uncertainty here that perhaps other municipalities wouldn't be facing that dual uncertainty that we are. But we're mostly a gas producer. We've been struggling through low gas now for 6 years, and we're still been able to chug along, and the economy still has grown here in Medicine Hat since '08, and the population has still been growing since '08. So we'll, as we were talking about earlier, I've seen these downturns I think 6 times in my life, and I'm not that old, but somehow Albertans are resilient, and Hatters are resilient as well. We'll get through it.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't last that much long. It's going to probably be coming
Fingers
back.
crossed. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, Molly. Same thing with Mayor Ted. Would that not affect the operations in the county in terms of projects and visions of 2015?
There may be a bit of a gap before we feel it, but definitely our county assessment is about 70% oil and gas related, and anything that gets shut in will eventually affect our assessment. The biggest thing I think is for our local economy, the activity, the business activity that it creates in the community of the city of Brooks, for sure. All the drilling and the fracking and all the stuff that goes on that just gets shut down immediately, and then you get into your the welding shops, places like that have to lay off people because they are reliant on the oil and gas industry. So I'm hearing some definite effects already, because this drop in the price of oil came so quickly. I mean, there were other times it was a little bit more slowly occurring. But yes, definitely will have an effect. You know, that big transformer station, converter station that's being built south of Brooks on Highway 36 has kept our community quite busy also. So there's a number of things that, could all sort of impact in 2015.
Okay. That will follow. I just like to follow up with that issue, the XL pipeline, which is still in process of approved by the U.S. administration. If they approve, and we hope that they will, would that benefit to our areas southeastern of Alberta, especially Medicine Hat County?
Absolutely. I mean, it's going right through. It's going by us, hopefully. It can't help but be good with all the jobs, the creation, the construction, and then of course the big thing with Alberta resources is they're trapped. And so we need to get them out, and what's good for Alberta will be good for, of course, Medicine Hat. And
what's good for Medicine Hat is good for all of the
region,
southeast, you know, it's regional.
It's unfortunate that the President of the United States doesn't see that, the benefit to his country as well as ours, but somehow transporting oil by a rail is smarter than by a pipeline. Can't figure that one out.
Well, it might be just politics.
It is just politics, and it's the lack of understanding of environment as well, and environmental science. You see, anything radicalized, I always believe is bad, and you can get radical environmentalists. I mean, we tried to build our new wind farm here in Medicine Hat. It was supposed to be 8 turbines that you see when you drive into town. It was the environmentalists that wouldn't allow us to build the other 5 and held us to 3. So you think of the irony of that, obviously. Lack of the understanding of the science.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, Molly, and you were in your principal for a long time.
I was.
School principal.
I was.
And from school principal, then you flipped to politics. So is it something that was in the blood of the family? Is it something that just you had vision just to come to the public office farther than the school principal?
Well, you know, Ahmed, I grew up in a home. My dad was a World War II veteran who spent time in Italy, Sicily, ended his war career in Holland. He was a Calgary Tank Regiment driver, tank driver. And my mom was an English war bride. He met in England before he went over to Europe. So I grew up under the circumstances, those circumstances where we were raised to, we had a good country and we needed to give back to our community. My dad was a local politician. So yes, I did grow up with that.
Good.
I grew up knowing that you had to give back to your community, and especially as a girl, you needed an education. I had 4 brothers, no sisters. And my dad was smarter than I was, because it was good for me to get an education, as it's turned out in my life. And so yes, I was principal, and then I took early retirement, and John and I sort of amalgamated into one house rather than two, because I was in Bassano and he was out in Finnegan at the ranch. And the ranch life is excellent. I did it for a couple of years and loved fencing on a sunny day, but got annoyed at some of our roads out where I live and ended up in municipal politics.
You did very well during your time of the REEB and the politics in the council and the city. So that's you.
Well,
you
we've
have
worked
control.
together, which is something that I totally believe in, and being positive and solving problems.
There
We
you
need
go.
to get together.
There you go. Same thing with Mr. Mayor. Was it in the blood of the family?
No, absolutely not. My father was a family physician. At the dinner, well, we rarely saw my father because he was a very, very hardworking man. But when he came home, and the conversation, well, around the dinner table was an interesting case he had that day, and my brother and I would try to diagnose based upon the symptoms, and then he would talk politics.
Yeah.
However, we talked politics, but my father had a disdain for politicians, almost visceral. So it was never in my family. I'm the first male born in 3 generations not to have a PhD in my family. So talk about.
Do they think you're a failure?
Well, that's it. Yeah, I was a black. I wasn't disowned, but I was a failure, to tell you the truth, because I didn't. I have a science degree, a biology and economics degree, but I never went any further than that.
Oh.
And so in my family, that is a disappointment. But running for politics was a default. I've been here, I've lived here my entire life, and I didn't like what was going on in Medicine Hat between the 2001-2007 years. I thought the city was going in the wrong direction. And so in 2007, out of frustration, I decided to throw my hat in the ring and became an alderman at the time. And have now progressed from there. But I say I got into politics by default, and
Wow.
we'll see.
So the family bar is too high then?
The bars?
Yeah, of your family.
Yeah,
Too high then.
yeah.
So when you say alderman, that meant councillor.
Yeah, we changed the name councillor in this last election, so the newly elected councillors were the first to bear that name, councillor,
Okay.
in 2013.
2013. So
Yes.
now it's councillor then.
Yes.
Councillor, okay. Would you just give us a quick the difference between the alderman and a councillor? Because most of the new Canadians have no clue the difference between the two.
Well, there is no difference in their duties or in their pay or anything. It's a title, and as simple as that. I mean, and the previous councils and councils from the past struggled with changing the name to councillor. And I was just mentioning earlier that it was interesting. It took an all-male council, the council of 2010-2013 Medicine Hat, voted to change the name from alderman to councillor going forward for 2013. And then previously, we'd had, in the previous councils, had female representation on them, and often they would vote against the name change. So I think that's kind of unique that it took an all-male council to change the name alderman
Wow.
to councillor, but it really is just in title only.
Isn't
A
that
rose
amazing?
is a rose
Yes.
is a rose.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we never had alderman in our area.
No, it's always been councillor.
It's always been council.
Yeah.
Councillor, not alderman. What do you think the advantage of diverse population or diverse communities as ours or Medicine Hat advantage for the economic growth for any given community, in your own opinion?
In my own opinion, I just think it's good to be on the cutting edge, and our world has, in Western Canada in particular,
Yeah.
the immigration patterns were always white Europeans, basically, and as immigration patterns have changed, obviously the diversity of people arriving here has grown, and we have always been a country of immigration. Because it's cold on the prairies, I think that we've been the last place that immigrants really wanted to come to. They were pretty smart, a lot of them, you know, went to the West Coast or stayed in the East where it's warmer. We have some industries like our beef packing, meat packing industries, where traditionally immigrants have started out and working in places like that. And so I appreciate them and have huge admiration for any of them who come and make our communities better places to be.
And join the cowboy land.
Join the cowboy land, yes. The Cowboys have done pretty good with it too,
There
I
you go.
think,
Yeah.
all things considered.
There you go.
I say that being married to one, so.
There you go, John. Very nice guy. Yeah. Yeah, it's especially the farmers. I think was well received and great hospitality. Same thing. You think? What's you think the advantage
Well,
of
I
that?
echo everything Molly has said. Of course, Brooks is the most racially diverse community in Canada. We have representation from I don't know over 100 countries or something. So for a small community, whereas a Medicine Hat, frankly, is not, to tell you the truth. But you know everything you said. But I really value their work ethic. You know, you come here and they work hard and do jobs that some Canadians turn their noses at and I'm just so impressed, and they immerse themselves in the community and volunteer, and we have quite a large Filipino community here in Medicine Hat, and I really I attend all their events because I really enjoy how positive they are and how proud they are to have a job, and that's a job at McDonald's and Tim Hortons. Yeah, but they celebrate it. When you ask them what they do, they sit up straight and they look you in the eye and say, "I work at Tim Hortons," and they're proud of it. Whereas some of our Canadians don't see it that way. And so they bring a value to the community, their culture, their various religion, and festivals and different things. So it can't help but to increase the overall experience in your community.
So would the temporary foreign worker issue that was now becoming a little completely difficult thanks to Honorable Jason,
Yeah.
Would that affect also Medicine Hat?
Yeah. Now, of course, you're asking this at a difficult time because we're of course experiencing layoffs in the capital in the service companies and the oil and gas companies around here, and so when you have when we were booming actually in 2014, actually things were coming along fairly well, you know.
Yeah.
And so the foreign workers were filling a niche that was needed here, frankly, in my opinion. But I'm a little worried about the community, changing their attitude a little bit and see how that goes. But it has been a difficult. And of course, we have a greenhouse industry here, which is heavily dependent on the foreign workers as well. And but I think those ones are okay. To tell you the truth, I don't think they had to leave. But politics.
There you go. I think as it was affected.
Yeah, certainly. Before the slowdown, JBS was losing some skilled labor that were having to be sent home, which is a concern. And I hope there's jobs if people want them, in for everybody in the next year if things are going to be hard. But I'm with Ted that there's a lot of jobs that are performed by foreign workers that we Canadians do turn our noses up at. So, if there's oil and gas workers not finding work that other people will do still, then you have to respect that as well.
No, that is actually it's very true indeed, and I think they are very hard workers. There are a lot of employees that work for GPS and they live in Medicine Hat.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
A very good number of those live in Medicine Hat actually. Mm-hmm. The cities, municipalities, and small cities have a very strong role in terms of economic growth in the provincial side. But usually there is small cities and then you have the larger ones, for example, like Calgary and Edmonton and all that stuff. Would you like to see more cooperation from the provincial wise to the small and medium-sized cities?
We were just talking about this earlier as well. Medicine Hat was the only municipality that went completely wild rose in the last election, and we were talking about how that would affect Medicine Hat. Would the province, the PCs, be disappointed in Medicine Hat? Would they punish us? Would they, But I'm frankly fairly happy with the PC government, because they've taken an interest in Medicine Hat. I can't speak for anybody else, but they've taken an interest in Medicine Hat. You can just drive around our city and see what's going on right now. Our hospital, which was approved 4 times and then cancelled, is now under construction and then is almost complete. New bridge across the Trans-Canada Bridge across the river, a new overpass in our south, and new school. Our first new public school in 31 years just opened. The city of Medicine Hat doubled in size and didn't have a new school. Can you imagine Calgary not getting a new school and doubling in size? But so we've been fairly happy, I would say, lately. Medicine Hat is the slowest growing major municipality in Alberta right now, and so I get a little bit of pressure, like, why we need more economic development, we need more. But of course, we've been predominantly a gas producer, and so gas, as you know, has been depressed for six years. So overall, things are all right.
No, that's very good.
Slow growth is good.
Yeah, well, that's it.
It's
funny because people want growth, and then I say to them, well, how much? Do you want to be a city of 100,000? Oh, no, we don't want to be 100,000. No. That's too big.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want? So maybe that 2% growth, that's maybe about right.
It's controllable, too.
Yes, and the infrastructure is, off-site levies and infrastructure to service all this is extremely expensive, especially in Alberta.
Yes.
But if you move fast, then there will be consequences.
Yes.
If you have a fast growth, then there will be consequences on that too.
Steady, predictable.
Very small percentage in economic growth.
As long as you're going up, increasing a little bit even, it's good.
Yeah, because then you have to look from the retirees, I think, also. The retirees also coming.
We welcome the retirees here. Of course, we've got the best weather in Alberta.
We do.
And
like Medicine Hat weather.
Southeastern of Alberta,
and people talk about Medicine Hat being a retirement community, and it's not. The demographics, yes, Medicine Hat is probably the oldest city or community in Alberta, but by Canadian standards, we're still very, very young workforce. So, it's all perspective.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens in the future, but thank you very much for everything that you do for the community.
Thank you, Ahmed. My pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, good to see you again.
It's good to see you again, and we hope that we will ask people, rather than going to Calgary, come to Medicine Hat. It's beautiful city, and that's why we have our global village based in this studio, but the home base is Brooks and County of New York, so that's called Southeastern of Alberta. Thank you to both of you. This is the end of Global Village, and thank you very much for joining us. I would like to take the opportunity and thank New York County, the continuous support of New York County, County of New York, City of Brooks, Medicine Hat College for their continuous support of Global Village Show. Until then, we hope you will join us next time. God bless you all. This is your host, Ahmed Kassim.